Though we have begun to see some improvement in economic activity, we still have some way to go before we can be assured that the recovery will be self-sustaining.
Speaking before prominent investors, wealthy business owners, and the country's most profitable CEOs, Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke addressed the Economic Club of Washington, where he said despite minor adjustments, there is still a long way to go before recovery.
Economic forecasts are subject to great uncertainty, but my best guess at this point is that we will continue to see modest growth next year, sufficient to bring down the unemployment rate, but at a pace slower than we would like.
Bernanke also predicted inflation, which has reached an all-time high, will eventually level out.
In the near term, elevated unemployment and stable inflation expectations should keep inflation subdued, and indeed, inflation could move lower from here.
Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke said under the Bush administration, the Federal Reserve did everything they could to prevent the deepening recession. But a majority of the American people are not buying it, and they're outraged the multi-billion-dollar bailouts handled by the Federal Reserve did not save Main Street. That skepticism has now moved to Capitol Hill, where prominent lawmakers have introduced legislation to audit the Federal Reserve. House Amendment H.R. 1207 and Senate Resolution 604 were introduced in Congress to implement a comprehensive audit of the Federal Reserve. The Paul Grayson Amendment would allow GAO audits of every item on the Fed's balance sheet, credit facilities, and all security purchase programs.
The law that currently governs the Federal Reserve's actions give it a lot of scope for very rapid action in the face of a crisis.
Critics argue the Federal Reserve has been at the center of every economic boom-bust calamity since it was first created in 1913 by an elite team of European bankers on Jekyll Island off the coast of Georgia. They say the monetary practices of Washington's private bank has devalued the dollar and remains at the forefront of the deepening recession.
The AIG bailout alone is reason enough to send you back to Princeton.
At his confirmation hearing on Capitol Hill, Bernanke was hammered by lawmakers for the Fed's shady activities.
We must put an end to your and the Fed's failure, and there is no better time than now. Your Fed has become the creature from Jekyll Island.
Senator Jim Bunning was not alone in his criticism of both the Fed and Bernanke. A Rasmussen poll reports 75% of the American people do not approve of Ben Bernanke and would like to see the federal government audit the Fed to ensure transparency and unveil the whereabouts of the trillions of dollars in bailout money managed by the Fed. Concerned taxpayers and lawmakers hope by auditing the Fed, the American people and Congress will have a better idea of how the Fed handles the country's money. Jahan Hafiz, Press TV, Washington.